level like we are, and we have built our careers this way to sell over $1 billion of real estate and volume-wise together?
Definitely doesn't have to be anything that is expensive, right? It could be, upgrading your house if you want to, upgrading your car to a new watch or a bag or anything like that. But just keep something that's going to be positive for yourself to move forward. If you're not doing anything, then we're not going to have a profitable business.
Because at the end of the day, skills equal profit. Like literally, the better your skills are in your prospecting and doing daily lead generation.
And you might have just lost a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 check on the other side. Use a partner.
All right, guys, this is another edition of the new series that we have, Rich and I. It is the Phone Warriors Blueprint to Your Success. And last week we talked about time management. This week we're talking about our favorite topic and what the Phone Warriors community is built on, which is prospecting. Rich, are you excited about this one?
I'm 100% excited about prospecting. And just so you know, we have no particular segment we know we're going to talk about each and every week. And I just feel like it's always something of what we actually need to talk about that week. So I'm really excited to talk about prospecting.
And I think it's also timely too, now that we're like at the last week of September here at this recording, and anyone watching this at any time of the year or in the future, it's really advantageous to talk about this now because we're right in the business planning session and the business planning time of the year for next year's results. And I will argue, Rich, that right now, coming into October, we really have businesses that should work on a 15-month schedule. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. 15-month schedule, 14-month schedule. Just, we say 15 months just because real estate and our success goes in 90-day strides. So we want to have the best possible January 1 through January 30, and that starts in a couple of days. So absolutely correct.
Awesome, man. Well, without further ado, point number one, you guys can write this down. We have I think it's a very, very timely and best way to start. And it's starting your day being thankful for what you have. This is the first point of the prospecting series right now. And thankful that you have chosen a profession focused on serving people. Your daily conversation should be focused around service to others. And one thing I want to, why I love that point to start off is that it builds a foundation of gratitude. Because listen, let's be honest, when you're prospecting at a high level like we are, and we have built our careers this way to sell over $1 billion of real estate and volume-wise together, I think the one thing that we've realized, that I've realized as well, has been you need to come from understand that you're going to get a lot of rejection, and it may feel like you're not winning all the time. Like, oh man, people keep saying no, I don't understand this. But when you start your day and your prospecting routine with a place of gratitude, you're going to start off and crush it for the day. So
I can't agree with that anymore. It always seems like, it's repetitious boredom, as they always say, and it does get lonely, but Dean hit it right on the point. Point number two is mindset is critical, very, very critical to prospecting, right? We need to make our mornings, what I like to say, and what our great leader like to say, media free. Don't get so sucked in, glued to your cell phone and seeing what's on TikTok and seeing what's on social media, because you're going to be into that negative news, what we call, right? So long story short is no news, no social media, no emails, pretty much nothing that's going to affect your mood to alter it from a happy state to a negative state. So just as soon as you wake up, your eyes crack at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., doesn't matter what time you wake up, just go back to Dean's first point, be thankful, get the gratitude going, get all the nice juices going, and then keep as strong of a mindset as you can all the way through your morning.
Yeah. And I think people could be saying, well, you know what, Dean and Rich, easier said than done. Like I have to check it for my kids or some other excuse you want to say, but there's a direct correlation to when I don't check the news and Twitters and Instagram and TikTok and social media, whatever, because to my success and prospecting for that day. And it's amazing how free because you need self-reflection. I think we underestimate that it's kind of like golfing in many ways. You are part of a team if you are a team, but many ways you have to be motivated and self-ambitious. And the only way to have self-reflection is by taking away all those other distractions to free your mind to focus at the task at hand. So, and that leads us to number 3, which is have your goals posted in front of you while prospecting. I mean, listen, the stronger the motivation, the higher the results. I mean, listen, if you know that, okay, let's say, let's just give an example, right, Rich? So let's say we're looking to take 8 listings for that month as an example. So we want to take 8 listings. If we don't see that number everywhere, and we don't have that in our affirmations, we're not focused on it, it's very easy to lose sight of what the goal is that you have. And that's the one thing I will share with you guys that has really succeeded for us when we're on the months of taking 8 to 10 listings a month, which has been in the past and even currently right now. That is what we're doing. It's like, okay, well, this is just part of it. I see it everywhere on the computer, when I wake up in the morning, in the bathroom, everywhere. So I think that to me is really important.
I do agree with that. And it's kind of one of those silly sayings that they say, out of sight, out of mind. So if you're just going through the motions and just coming into the office, not looking at your business plan, not looking at your goals, or have no idea where you even are going, like, hey, I want to do 24 transactions. You have zero idea how it's going to happen. Like, the goals are what's going to get you there. So definitely doesn't have to be anything that is expensive, right? It could be, upgrading your house if you want to, upgrading your car, upgrading, to a new watch or a bag or anything like that. But just keep something that's going to be positive for yourself to move forward. Brings us to our next point, right? In order for us to achieve these goals, daily lead generation and what we like to call prospecting is just the key to build a profitable business, period. If you're not talking to strangers every day and you're not doing some lead follow-ups every day and you're not doing anything, then we're not going to have a profitable business. Now, that goes to say, like, can you buy social media ads? Can you buy other leads sources? Basically, can you buy business? Absolutely. But the key word here we want to talk about is profitable. We want to know what profitable business is. And if you're not going out there and talking to strangers and or door knocking, then guess what? You're not going to be as profitable. You might make some money, but the goal is to make, not for a 1-to-1 scale. It's to be at least a 2 or 3-to-1 to the scale. So
Yeah,
yeah,
100%. I mean, that's that you hit the nail on the head, because profitability is what every agent should be striving for. And yet, how many times, Rich, have we seen other teams and agents, they spend a ton of money on marketing and they have all these great things, and that may work in a market that is doing all of this. But as soon as the market turned, which it did a year and a half, 2 years ago, guess what? Now everyone's saying, what did everyone say to us? They say, we're going to get back to basics, and we're going to go into, and we need to make our calls for the day. Because at the end of the day, skills equal profit. Like, literally, the better your skills are in your prospecting and doing daily lead generation, the more profitable you're going to be. It's like there's a direct correlation to that. And number 5 is track all of the results that you're getting from prospecting by filling out your numbers on a tracking sheet. It's so funny, dude. We literally talked about this, and we're doing this on a daily basis,
yeah,
right? Yeah. So we're still doing it. It's not like we're, immune to it just because we're at a different point of our careers financially and volume wise and team wise and everything else. We're still tracking our numbers. You have to. If you don't have a tracking sheet, you're not knowing how many conversations does it take for you to get a listing, to get an appointment, and how many it takes to get sold. Well, then we're in a pretty, we're not going to be in a really good spot. And this needs to guide you towards constant improvement to that end goal.
absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. So I'm just going to go right to the next point. Point number 6, right? To
Mm-hmm.
create an efficient pre-prospecting routine. So that is before you start, how to get everything into your head. So an example would be is get up at the same time every single morning, right? Each day is very crucial if you're going to keep yourself on schedule. Number 2 is we need to exercise. We need to move our body. It's very important, right? Because when you're at the gym, you're going to release certain type of stresses and you're going to release certain parts of your body and you're going to feel very excited and energized just off of that. Point number 3, or number 3 on that topic would be you got to eat something healthy. Healthy breakfast, preferably healthy meals throughout the day. You know, I know Dean likes to run light. You know, he loves his
Yeah,
shakes
protein
and
shakes, you know?
you
Yeah.
know everything. You know, but he's like, oh, I feel so light because you know once the afternoon comes, if you eat a heavy meal, you get tired, so you don't want to do you don't want to be there. So like what Dean would say, this is Dean. I don't know if I don't know where he got this from, but you always got to be in your fighting atmosphere on your fighting weight.
Yes.
So
Your
basically
fighting weight, exactly. Yep.
eat something healthy in the morning. If you're not going to do it at any other point, eat something healthy. Next point would be do affirmations. As Dean said early on, affirmations go a long way. They make you believe in yourself. You know, you gotta have devotions or something that's just going to get you in the right frame of the mind. Like the I ams are so important because that's going to make you believe, because the belief, it starts all within yourself. So don't ever forget that. Next point is get to the office at a specific time every morning. So if you're going to be a high level producer, you know, this is specifically for people who have ambiguous goals, 50, 100, 150 transactions, right? Get to the office at the same time every morning and start at the same time every morning, right? Have your morning prospecting mapped out. So, you know, every day should be like clockwork, but hey, between 8 to 8:30, just an example, doesn't matter, it could be at 9 or 10, but hit the expired, call the expired the second time, force set by owners, circle prospecting, database, you end your prospecting shift, and you go. But you should have it mapped out every single day. Next is at some point in the morning or at some point during the day, you got to role play the most common objections, right, that you receive, because you need to be sharp and you need to be able to speak very quickly. If somebody says, hey, I'm not interested, what are you going to say? Hey, you know, I have a friend in the business. What are you going to say? The common ones. There's only 4, 5, 6 of these that you just need to master. And a lot of these interchange into one of another. So that's the great part about learning some of these objections. You might hear, hey, I have a friend in the business, and then the next person might say, hey, listen, I got some projects I'm going to do around the house, and you can use these very, very interchangeably. So know your scripts, know your dialogues. And the last point is start having some fun. Start prospecting and just having fun at the very end of the day when you're going to be doing this. So I know it's long-winded on this one. This one had a lot of points, but this is just what you should be doing before you start prospecting. But if you can't do it before, just have it somewhere in your schedule where you'll be able to do this and remember the fun and enjoyment end of it.
Yeah, and that's such a great point because it really sets you up for how should you have a routine if you're going to be a prospecting based business or attempt to do that over a long period of time. And that last point is everything, man. I mean, we talk about that too amongst ourselves. Like having fun is what it should be. Like have fun with the prospecting. Maybe you do 1 hour of, just the expired and all the hard stuff, and then you do the rest of your time, however long you want to do it, for database calls, people that you actually know, like, and trust. And so you got to make it fun. It doesn't have to be so serious all the time. That's what we learned. And now that's how to get yourself set. That's the point to get your whole prospecting routine set up. Now I'm gonna go a step further for number 7. And this is why to me, Rich, I've always found that prospecting is hard for many people. So here are 4 points that it seems to be that people find it very hard to prospect at a high level. They just don't know how. Hopefully that last point is going to give you a lot of food for thought. The second thing is they don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it, what to say, what script should I use? Does this work? Does that work? Not. The third thing, they can't handle the rejection. I said that in the past about being that this is a very big rejection. And it's not to say that, I mean, listen, even your mother can reject you, even your husband, your spouse, your wife, whatever. They can all reject you. Like everyone gets rejected, but it just how you handle it with someone that you may not know because you're thinking like, oh, I had an opportunity to make X amount of commissions, and you get all in your head about it. So stop that. And then number 4 is they're not. This is a big one I found, Rich, is that they're not getting the results fast enough. Like I think that I think what I notice is that for every list, this is a true stat. I don't know, Rich, if you may or may not even know this, but for my business personally, I know that for every listing that I take, so like let's say I speak to a seller and it's, let's say, on September 1st, I know I will get paid from a motivated seller within 4 to 6 months, guaranteed, once they list with me. on that property. So for every listing, every conversation I have, I know I'm getting paid within 4 to 6 months time period. Once I meet with them or do a Zoom call and have that. And I think that you got to realize that. So that's why every day you got to put in and make your deposits that you're doing into this process, because otherwise the results will not come fast enough, and you're gonna think, oh, it's me or it's nothing, but that's just not the case.
Right, perfectly said. And kind of what my next point is kind of goes a little bit, with this fast enough part of it is point number 8 is the sooner you memorize the scripts through practice and role play. Key word is we don't practice on our clients, right? The more confident you become and the easier it will be to start and keep going. So when we know what to say and we know how to react, we're gonna know what the outcome is. So long story short is role play guys, go into our organization, go into anywhere, just get another body on the other side and say, listen, I'm gonna call you as an expired person and just kind of be normal and just do that. We don't want to practice on our clients because you know what? The dean's point is that other person at their end, you might be able to convert and you might have just lost a 5,000, 10,000, $20,000 check on the other side. So use a partner.
Yeah. I mean, listen, practicing, this is right into number 9. You got to practice your responses to the most common objections. I mean, if you have to know what to say and how to say it, but it happens over time. That you can't be expecting to be Rich and I, at this point in your business, or anyone else that you look up to that is a caller or they're a prospector in their business. I mean, it takes us, I mean, we've been in business now for 13, 14 years. It's not like this is like overnight success. Didn't take us that long to reach a certain level of success. Hands down, no. But once we got with the right teams and trainings and everything, we were able to know what to say and how to say it in a much faster way.
Absolutely. And listen, next point is when prospecting, write down the objections that you're receiving, role play these objections, and you'll gain confidence necessary to become efficient. So, efficient and effective, actually. So, just remember that if you got stuck on a question where somebody is like, "Oh, I have a friend in the business," and you had no idea what to say, and you just hung up, write that down, go back to the scripts, find out where the objection is, and start reading each one of those, and then you're going to start becoming much more efficient when you're prospecting.
100%, man. Number 11 is prospecting is practice. Now, prospecting is practice. What does that mean? That means that even though, to Rich's point, hey, you don't want to initially practice on someone that is a potential lead, but the more that you do this, it's just like a muscle. The way you have to realize prospecting at a high level is this is literally a skill of muscle memory for you to know, okay, I know, and then you get in this habit. And really for us, Rich, like coming in and prospecting at 8 a.m. and we go 3, 4 hours, it's kind of like a cakewalk, honestly. I rarely take a break outside of a bathroom break at this point, and I don't worry if I have to have like, I mean, we did 101 contacts last week. And I mean, that's why, I mean, 101 people that we spoke to that we're trying to looking, and we focus on sellers, by the way, not even buyers. So that's the other thing as well. But that it just happens over practice, over time. And don't worry, don't like get, don't get so much in your head about this. Once you guys get to a point of building those habits over 60, 90 days, and you keep on doing it, you're like, oh, this is just like anything else I do in my life. So I hope that point's helpful.
Yeah, and you know what? Like the next point is like I know Dean says it's very easy. You start at 8 a.m., which it 100% is. But don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times where I'm driving to the office, not thinking about it. I get into the office and I'm like, huh, I got to make that first call right now, and like maybe I procrastinate, 10, 15 minutes. So listen, normally the hardest call you're going to make is going to be the very first one of the day because you don't know what's going to happen. That could be an appointment, that could be somebody yelling at you. You don't know. But listen, get it out of your system. The quicker you make that call, the quicker you feel whatever resistance you're about to receive on the other end. Just get it done. Preferably in a perfect world, it'd be such a great person on the other end that rips you into one, and you're like, oh, I get those jitters out, and then number 2 on is everything you're gonna get. So yeah, first call of the day is always the hardest day. So make it as quick as possible.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And number 13 is, guys, understand that prospecting is the one thing that literally every, isn't it funny that every business does this? You get called from tech companies. Think about this, guys. Every company has all this in common, that prospecting is something that you need to do. So get used to it. And what Rich told me, which is a great saying the other day, fall in love with talking to people again. All right. You have to fall in
Yeah.
love with talking to people at a high level. And that's what's going to set you apart from every salesperson that exists on the planet.
That's it. Fall in love with talking to people, and people is all your real estate people, clients that are gonna be calling you, your active clients, your buyers, your sellers, your renters, people in general. If there's a human on the other side, granted we're not talking AI, that's why I said humans. There's a human on the other side. Uplift those people because you shouldn't be bringing them down to your level. So next, I'm sorry, they shouldn't be bringing you down to their level. You should be uplifting to them to your level. Point number 14, we need to work on the following lead sources every single day. Because if you work with buyers, you're simply going to skip the listing generating activity side. All right. So what you need to do is you need to have inbound buyer leads or seller leads, right? Expired listings, canceled listings. We have for sale by owners. We have just listed. We have just sold. We have my favorite, past clients, set of influences. And I use this word strategic. So it's strategic referral partners.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is
That's it,
if
Rich.
anybody you give business to, so you have an attorney on record that you're between three attorneys and you give them 70 deals a year, they should be giving you something back. Your mortgage people should be giving you something back. Your insurance companies, so on and so forth. Basically, anybody you give business to, they should be giving them back over to you. Of course, we have open houses that just very passively, and door knocking, right? We have to go out there. We have sometimes put faces to the names. So door knocking still works at a very high level if that's the business model you want to use. All right.
Absolutely. So, dude, point number next is the most distractions that come up while prospecting are self-imposed. I mean, turn off all the media while prospecting and keep your workspace clean. And honestly, like this is where, let's just be honest, Rich, right? The distractions that we have is really what causes your prospecting to not happen or be half-assed. And
Yeah.
and so that's just what it is. This is a high intensity sport that you are embarking on to have less distractions. Can I call up an athlete like Aaron Rodgers on the Jets or something in the middle of his game? No. And what about
No.
practice? You probably can't get anyone playing any sports, during even let alone a game, let alone a practice session. So it's the same thing here. You are on stage now, you're performing, so limit those distractions as much as you possibly can, and there's ways to do it. So that's point not, yeah, that was a huge one for us that we wanted to, come across here.
Absolutely. And listen, for point number next, I don't even know where we're at, but listen, if you are a buyer's agent, right, and that's all you want to work with, which is totally fine. If you're a renter, that's totally fine. And the same thing kind of goes for if you're a high listing agent, when the lead comes in, you have to be the first one to call it, right? So if a lead came in at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock last night, of course you're not going to call that lead. But the second you come in at 8 a.m., that should be the first call that you're making because they're hot. And if it is 8 a.m. and it's 8:30, the lead comes in, you need to stop what you're doing. And 8:31, reach out to that lead because they're in front of their computer, they're in front of their phone, they're going to be answering the call. And the reason why I say on the seller side too is certain lead sources, for sale by owners and expires, the saying goes, early bird gets the worm, right? So you need to be able to be in front of these people quick because other agents are going to come in like sardines and they're going to get flustered. And that conversation you thought you had at 10 a.m. is now going to be mixed in with 10 other agents.
Oh man, that is fantastic. I love that. And this is what it comes down to. Rich and I, we have this as something that is really big is the environment. So how you feel physically and what you think about has an overwhelming impact on your results. You got to stay positive and have an environment like even that you guys see here, right? It looks pretty clean because it is. And it's designed that way. I don't want it to have anything else besides a calendar where I'm booking my appointments and a nice picture of an ocean that I love the water. So it keeps me when I have a prospecting station that I'm in right now to be nice and clean. It's high energy. Of course, I got my candles that are in here to make it smell nice and everything. And you want to make an environment really, really positive as opposed to any negativity. Make sure the balls in the paint, everything. So like you're trying to give yourself an edge. Right, Rich? I mean, I feel like that's really what this point is really coming up. What can give you an edge in every aspect outside of what we started with the gratitude and everything else?
Well, you know, what comes to mind for me, giving yourself an edge, besides knowing your unique selling proposition, right, is keeping your ego out of this. You know, you have to remember it's never about you. It's always about about the person that you're speaking to or the person you're trying to help, right? So don't have a temper. Don't show emotions. Don't let that side get the best of you, right? Because you cannot win in any type of argument if that's how you if that's how you're going to be, right? So, and just remember that when you're talking to a lot of these clients, it's just a contact sport, like you said, right? You just gotta next, 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 next. Oh yes, you want to do something? Great. I'll see you at 4 o'clock. Next, 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 right? So remember, it's up to you as the agent to be the most lead generating person out there that somebody wants to buy or sell from you. So take it
Yeah,
from
I
there, man.
mean, right there, right? Understand it's a contact sport, which is exactly what Rich had said. And if it's up to you to find the next person who wants to either buy or sell from you, you have to be that person. And it's never about you. Never let the ego get out of it. So, but we hear, so this is the other point that I want to bring up too today, which is, and now we're kind of riffing off, which is fun, which is don't talk about yourself with clients. But sorry, no one cares. But we hear agents in our phone warrior group sometimes. We hear other people's prospect, and they may sound good, like they have high energy, they know what questions to ask, but then all of a sudden it goes dark, and it goes to like, well, I've been in the business for 30 years, and I've been doing this, and I want to do this, and it's like, I think we turned a corner here. We got to get back to like the client and focus on what can we do to help them in that moment, and that is another thing that when it comes to prospecting, I hear people get so into it sometimes, but they get into it about themselves, and that's a no-no.
Hey, absolutely. You know, that is a huge no-no. Because look, you know, did you ever have a conversation with somebody and all you did was ask them questions and they leave and like, wow, you know, Dean really understood who I was. And all he did was just ask questions and he didn't say one thing. Well, that goes in the same format for us when we're working. So the next point is, you know, these are very important. You guys should write these down, right? And you always should have these in front of you, but especially while you're prospecting, right? So it should be my number one goal for today, for this week, for this month. So what is it? One qualified appointment a day, five qualified appointments a week, you know, 8 listings signed in a month, whatever it might be. Like that should be written down on stone, right? You should always be thinking there's somebody in my market today. There's somebody in my market today who is ready to buy or sell, who's ready to buy or sell, right? A home, and they want to work with me, right? So that's giving yourself a nice positive affirmation, right? Remember that when you're prospecting, it is every no that's going to get you closer to yes. So, hey, you want to buy or sell any real estate? No. Hey, you want to buy or sell any real estate? No. Hey, we sold this property up the block. Do you know who's looking to move in the area? No. No, no, no. Yes. Boom. And start calculating those numbers so you know exactly how many no's can bring you closer to yes. And listen, there's no shortcuts. And if you're going to go anywhere worthwhile, there's definitely no shortcuts. So stay in one place and stay true to the goal because that's going to be your worthwhile goal to achieve those.
I mean, let's be honest, guys. The shortcut that you're looking at to take is probably the hard work that you're avoiding. So, and there's always three opportunities for business with every prospect or person that you speak to. There's always three. And I want you guys to really write this down because I did have someone shadow me at my office, and I asked them like, what was your number one takeaway from spending an entire week with me, seeing what I do every single day? And, you know, outside of a lot of different things, the one thing that stood out to him was that he said, prospecting is three-dimensional. Now, what did that mean? Because a lot of people stop with, hey, do you want to buy or sell, or do you want to sell your property? And then that's it. They don't go any further. There's no more depth to that conversation. It's over for them. So here's how this is the framework you guys should be writing down. Number one is, can I do business with them today or in a specified period in the next week or two? If you go longer than that, you pretty much are going to lose them. I've tried to do month or twos in advance appointments, but it never usually pans out. Number two is, can I get a referral from them? In other words, let's say they shut you down and they say, hey, Rich, you know what? Yeah, we're not looking to do any business right now. And we're not going to, buy or sell any property. That's okay. I appreciate you saying that. And let me ask you, Mr. Seller, is there any opportunity? Do you know anyone else in your network that would benefit from an introduction to myself in talking about quote on real estate and or understanding how to maximize their move potentials and asking for a referral? That's number two. Number three is, can I add them in my database, or what we call centers of influence, and follow up with them at another specified time to touch base, get to know them better, see if there's anything that was worthwhile to touch base with them on. And so there's always, that was a huge aha for me when I saw that. That's why we wrote it down here for you guys today. Is it's all about understanding that it's not just do you want to buy or sell? Goodbye. And I've seen other prospectors, by the way, on YouTube. I've seen it up there, and they're all they do is that, and they do 40 deals a year. And the guy one of them calls 1,000 people a month, and it's who wants to do that? Nobody. No, you guys have to get a little bit better at building up your database, and also potentially getting a referral, or if they have any other properties, not that one they have, but they're looking to potentially sell. So
That's so true. Listen, it's been preached, all through my career, no matter who I coached with, no matter what coaching company I was a part of, they always said that you should be getting a minimum of 10% from your database. So we need to think along that route is, listen, just because you did a circle prospect and they're not interested right now, but somehow, some way they were nice and they were talking to you, and the CFO of a hedge fund or something like that. Well, my friends, this is somebody you're going to want to keep in your database over here, and you're going to want to transfer them over because they probably know a lot of people and know a lot of high level people is the key right here. So just never be closed-minded when you're prospecting. Always go the extra mile. Always ask them that next question. And I'm going to leave you on this, and then Dean will leave you at the quote, is just remember, do not let somebody's response to you while you're prospecting to determine your future. And what does that mean? If somebody's going to have a bad day and they're going to curse you off, okay, hey, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. If somebody's going to say, hey, I'm calling the police on you, we're not doing anything illegal, right? Somebody's going to say anything and all these nasty words and everything like that towards you. Listen, it's part of the game, unfortunately. It's going to happen. It's not going to happen frequently, but if it does happen, just brush it off. Either go take a quick brisk walk outside, go have a mental break, go do something if it really does bother you. But just remember, just get back to yourself and start going, because listen, at the end of the day, they're not going to help pay your bills. You're the only one that's up to you to make sure your bills get paid.
That's it, man. That was a great line. And yeah, I'll end it with this, is that motivation and cooperation generally go hand in hand. So if you're finding that you're fighting with a prospect, or you're in a position where you're not able to get someone to agree to a time to meet and or answer any questions, I mean, yeah, it could be a skill thing. Sure. Could be your energy level. Sure. A lot of those things, obviously. But if you put that all into the same bucket of I'm a 10 out of 10 on all those different things, and they still don't cooperate, I just had one an hour ago like this, they're not that probably serious to do anything. And that's a lead that you could say bye-bye to. And it's okay to say bye-bye to leads or contacts in this case with prospecting. So hope this is helpful, guys. We wish you, all the success at the end of 2024 and also well into 2025 and beyond. And let's make it a great day.